Native cook lied about her age until a cowboy said love doesn't count years, only moments. The wind on Red Mesa. 7 did not move like earth wind. It carried fine red dust that glowed faintly under the twin moons, and it whispered around metal walls like it was trying to remember a song. The settlement was small, built from cargo containers, scrap plates, and smart glass panels that had cracked long ago. People here worked hard, spoke little, and watched the horizon like it could bite. Rowan Hale rode in at dusk. He looked like an old-style cowboy, but his gear was frontier-grade. His coat had solar threads stitched into the lining. His boots were dust-sealed. A coil rope hung at his saddle, and a compact pulse tool rested on his hip. Under him was a bioengineered stallion, taller than any normal horse, with strong joints and a warm, steady breath that didn't fog in the cold. Rowan had traveled for weeks, following a job that had grown strange. The message had been short. Come to Red Mesa. 7. Quiet settlement. Odd signals. Need a tracker who knows both trails and tech. There was no name, no extra details, only a deposit to his account and a set of coordinates. He did not like mystery clients, but he liked being hungry even less. The settlement lights flickered as he passed the gate. A small drone hovered over him, scanned his coat, his eyes, his horse's tag, then drifted away. No alarm. No welcome either. Rowan rode toward the only building with warm light and smoke rising from a vent. A sign above the door read, Cookhouse. He stepped inside and was hit by the smell of broth, roasted grain, and something sharp and sweet like desert herbs. The room was full of tired people. Some wore mining suits, some wore patch jackets, and a few had old weapons on their backs, not hidden at all. They were not showing off. They were simply prepared. Behind the counter stood the cook. She moved with calm speed, filling bowls, handing out cups, listening more than speaking. Her dark hair was tied back. Her face was sun-touched, with a small scar near one eyebrow. She looked young, maybe 20 at most, but her eyes did not match her age. They were steady and old, like someone who had watched many seasons and learned to stay quiet. Rowan took a seat where he could see the door and most of the room. Habit, not fear. He waited. The cook came over with a bowl before he even asked. Long ride, she said. Her voice was soft, simple, without any forced cheer. It sounded honest. Rowan looked at the bowl. I paid yet? You will, she replied. Eat first. That was unusual. Nothing was free on the frontier. But he did not argue. He took the spoon and tasted the broth. It was good. Not fancy, not rich, but real. Warm enough to stop his hands from shaking. For the first time in days, his stomach relaxed. He looked up. You made this? Yes. What's your name? He asked. A pause, half a breath too long. Tala, she said. Rowan noticed the pause but did not press. People are in their privacy out here. He ate slowly, eyes and ears open. Around him, voices rose and fell. Raiders again, I'm telling you. Not raiders, not like the old ones. These were organized. My shield panel's still dead. If they come tonight, I heard the ruins are waking up. At that word, ruins, the cook's hand tightened on a tray, just for a second. Then she let it go and kept moving. Rowan filed that away. After he finished, he paid and asked for a room. An older man behind the bar pointed toward a narrow hall. Rowan thanked him and stood to leave. Tala spoke again. You're not from here. Is anyone? Rowan said. A faint smile touched her mouth. Some are, some were born in the dust. Rowan turned a little. You? I cook, she answered. It was not an answer, but it was a boundary. Rowan respected boundaries. He also remembered them. Upstairs, his room was small and clean. The window looked out over the settlement and beyond it, the red plains. Far away, lightning flickered without sound. Energy storms. Red Mesa. 7 had many strange storms, the kind that disrupted radios, drained batteries, and made animals restless. Rowan set his bag down and checked his gear. Everything was where it should be. He lay back on the bed, but sleep did not come. He kept thinking about Tala's eyes. Young face, older gaze. He had seen that look before, in war survivors and people who lived under bad rulers and those who had learned to hide inside themselves. Outside, the wind rose. A few hours later, Rowan woke to a sound that did not belong. Not laughter, not shouting, not the normal metal creaks of a settlement. This was a low, pulsing hum, like a far-off engine. It came in waves, steady, almost like a heartbeat. Rowan sat up and listened. The hum grew stronger. He stood, pulled on his coat, and stepped into the hall. A few doors opened as other people did the same. Faces appeared, confused, worried. A woman whispered, "It's back." Rowan moved down the stairs. In the cookhouse below, people gathered near the windows. Some held weapons. The older man from the bar was flipping switches, trying to stabilize the lights. Tala was there too, standing still. Her hands were empty, but her posture was ready, like she was waiting for something she expected. Rowan walked to the window and looked out. At first he saw only dust and night. Then the ground shimmered in the distance, and faint blue lines appeared across the plains, like veins of light in the sand. They formed a pattern that led toward the dark shapes on the horizon. The ruins. They were not close, but everyone could see them. Old alien structures, half buried, like broken teeth sticking out of the earth. No one went there unless they were desperate or foolish. People said the ruins ate machines. People said the ruins called to those who listened too long. The blue lines pulsed again. The hum deepened. How often does this happen? The older man swallowed. But it's been more lately. Since the last cargo ship reported trouble. Tala, someone muttered. A young miner with a sharp jaw looked toward her. It started again after she came. Eyes turned. Tala did not step back. She did not argue. She simply said, "That is not true." "Then why won't the scanners read you right? I saw the medic try." The machine kept glitching. "Machines glitch here all the time." "Not like that," he snapped. "Not only on you." Rowan watched her face. For a moment her calm cracked, like a thin layer of ice. Not anger. Fear. Then it smoothed again. The older man cut in. "Enough! We don't fight in the cookhouse." The miner backed off, but the suspicion stayed in the air like smoke. Rowan moved closer to Tala, not too close, not like a challenge, just enough to show he wasn't joining the crowd. He spoke in a low voice. "You know what this is." Tala's eyes flicked to him. "I know it's dangerous." "That's not what I said." She looked away toward the window. "Please don't ask me tonight." Rowan could have pushed. He didn't. The hum faded slowly, and the blue lines dimmed until they were gone. The settlement lights steadied. People began to breathe again. Some returned to their rooms. Some stayed up, drinking, muttering. Rowan stayed near the back, watching. Tala started cleaning, wiping the counter, stacking bowls, busy hands to hide restless thoughts. Rowan waited until the room thinned, then walked to the counter. "You fed me before you asked for payment," he said. Tala kept wiping. "You look like you needed it." Rowan nodded. "People here are scared of you." For the first time she looked tired. "People are scared of everything." "True," Rowan said. "But they're using you to hold their fear." Tala's mouth tightened. "Let them." Fear needs a target. Rowan leaned his elbows on the counter, careful to keep his voice gentle. "That can turn ugly." "I know," she said. He waited, giving her space. In the silence, a distant howl rolled across the plains, some night creature calling to its pack. Tala spoke quietly. "I didn't come here to hurt anyone." Rowan believed her. He didn't know why, but he did. "Then why come?" he asked. She looked at him with those old eyes. "To work. To be small, to be unnoticed." Frontier is the wrong place to be unnoticed. A tiny, almost sad smile appeared. "I'm learning that. I was hired to look into odd signals." Tala's hand froze on the cloth. Rowan noticed it. "You know something about that, too." She did not deny it. She simply said, "If you go toward the ruins, you might not come back." That a warning? Or a request? Tala met his eyes. Both. Rowan felt something shift inside him. Not romance, not yet, but respect. She was afraid, but she was still trying to protect him. Or protect something else. He nodded once. "All right. I won't go rushing in blind." Tala let out a slow breath, like she had been holding it. "Thank you." At the doorway he paused. "Tala, you don't have to tell the whole truth to everyone, but if someone comes for you, you shouldn't be alone." Tala's expression softened just a little. "You barely know me." Rowan looked back at the dark plains. Sometimes that's enough to see a person. He went upstairs, but sleep still came slow. Outside, the wind kept whispering, and in the far distance, near the ruins, a faint blue pulse flickered again, like the planet itself was sending a message. In the morning, Rowan would start tracking what was really happening on Red Mesa. 7. And Tala would face a choice she had been avoiding for a long time. Keep hiding, or trust someone who seemed to care more about the moment than the years behind it. Morning on Red Mesa. 7 came slowly. The red sun rose through dust clouds, turning the sky soft orange. Wind moved between metal buildings, carrying the smell of sand and cooking fires. Rowan stood outside the cookhouse watching people begin their day. Some repaired broken shield panels, others loaded cargo onto small haulers. Life continued, even when fear stayed close. He had not slept much. The blue pulses from the ruins stayed in his mind. More than that, Tala's warning stayed with him. She knew something. He was certain now. Inside the cookhouse, Tala worked quietly as always. She moved between tables, setting down simple breakfasts and warm drinks. People watched her when they thought she did not notice. Some still whispered, but no. One spoke openly against her this morning. Rowan took his usual seat. Tala brought him a bowl without asking. "You wake early," she said. "Hard habit to break," Rowan replied. She nodded. Frontier riders never rest fully. She looked calm, but there were shadows under her eyes. "You didn't sleep either," he said. Tala hesitated, then gave a small smile. "Cooks sleep when the town sleeps. Last night, the town did not sleep." Rowan leaned closer, lowering his voice. "I need to understand what's happening. The signals. The ruins. The attacks." Tala's hands tightened around the tray she carried. For a moment, she looked like she might walk away. Instead, she set the tray down and sat across from him. "I cannot tell you everything," she said softly. "Start with something," Rowan replied. She watched the steam rise from his bowl. "The ruins are older than this colony, older than most records. They are not dead structures. They listen to movement, to certain people." Rowan did not interrupt. Tala continued. "Most settlers avoid them, which keeps things calm. But recently, someone has been searching there. Waking systems that should stay quiet." "Raiders?" Rowan asked. "Maybe. Or someone who hired them." That matched what Rowan had suspected. Someone wanted something hidden in the ruins. "Why are you connected to it?" he asked gently. Tala's eyes moved to the window. Outside, dust blew across the ground like waves. "I did not say I was," she answered. Rowan gave a small smile. "You didn't have to." She sighed quietly. "Please. Not here. Too many years."
Rowan nodded.
"Supply run. I need to check the outer ridge anyway." She hesitated. Leaving town meant risk, but staying meant questions and watching eyes. After a moment, she agreed. They left mid-morning. Rowan rode his stallion while Tala sat behind him, holding lightly to the saddle frame. The bioengineered horse moved smoothly across the desert, its steps steady even over rough ground. The plains stretched wide around them, red and endless. Strange crystal plants grew from the soil, glowing faintly. Far away, the ruins stood like broken towers against the sky. For a long time, neither spoke. Finally, Tala said, "People think I lied about my age." Rowan glanced back slightly. "Did you?" "Yes," she admitted, "but not the way they believe." He waited. "My people, we age differently," she said slowly. "Long ago we changed ourselves to survive this world. Time moves slower in our bodies. I have lived many years, but I do not look like it." On frontier worlds, strange biology was not impossible. Still, he understood why settlers felt uneasy. "Why hide it?" he asked. Tala's voice grew quieter. "Because when people know, they look at you differently. They see something unnatural. They stop seeing you as a person." Rowan nodded slowly. "Maybe some do. And you?" she asked. Rowan thought for a moment. "Years are just numbers. I've met young people who were tired like old souls, and old people who laughed like children. Time doesn't tell me who someone is." Tala went silent behind him. He felt her grip tighten slightly, as if his words surprised her. They reached a ridge overlooking the plains. Rowan stopped the horse and scanned the horizon. Through a small scope he saw movement, tracks in the dust, recently made. "Raiders were here," he said. Tala stiffened. "Looking for me?" "Maybe," Rowan answered honestly. Suddenly a sharp buzzing sound cut through the air. A small drone rose from behind a rock formation, its lights blinking red. Rowan reacted instantly. He turned the horse and moved behind a tall stone pillar. The drone hovered, scanning the area. "Corporate tech," Rowan muttered. Not local raiders. Tala's breathing quickened. They found me. Who? Rowan asked. She hesitated. The drone fired a scanning beam that swept across the ridge. Rowan pulled Tala closer to keep her hidden from view. Tell me now, he said firmly but gently. Tala closed her eyes for a second, as if deciding whether to trust him fully. A corporation has hunted my people for years, she whispered. They believe we carry genetic keys to activate the ruins. They want control. So they're not just searching for treasure, they're searching for you. Yes. Rowan reached for a small pulse tool and fired. A silent burst struck the machine, sending it spinning into the sand. They stayed still for a moment, listening. No other drones appeared. Tala exhaled slowly. I never wanted to bring danger to Red Mesa. 7. Danger came whether you were there or not, Rowan said. Frontier always has predators. She looked at him, uncertainty in her eyes. You're not angry? Why would I be? Because I lied. Rowan shrugged lightly. Everyone hides something. Truth comes when it's ready. They sat together in the quiet wind. The ruins shimmered in the distance, and for a moment, Rowan thought he saw blue light flicker between the towers. Tala followed his gaze. They're waking more often now. If someone activates the core systems, this planet could change. I don't know, she admitted. My people were guardians, not rulers. We learn to listen, not control. Then we stop whoever is trying to force it. She looked at him carefully. You say that like it is simple. But it's right. For the first time since leaving the town, Tala laughed softly. It was a quiet sound, but real. They turned back toward Red Mesa, 7 before sunset. As they rode, the sky shifted from red to deep purple. Rowan felt a strange calm settle between them. Trust was growing, slowly but surely. When the settlement lights appeared ahead, Tala spoke again. You said yesterday that no one should be alone. Maybe that changes now. Tala did not answer, but she did not pull away either. As they entered the settlement, Rowan noticed something new. A large transport ship hovered near the outskirts, its engines humming low. Workers unloaded heavy crates while armored figures watched. Corporate uniforms. Rowan's instincts sharpened immediately. They found us faster than I expected, he said. They will not stop. Rowan guided the horse forward, his eyes scanning every movement. Trouble had arrived at Red Mesa. 7, and this time it wasn't just raiders. This time someone powerful wanted Tala, and whatever secret she carried. And Rowan knew the quiet days were over. The corporate ship settled over Red Mesa, 7 like a dark cloud that refused to move. Its metal surface reflected the red desert light, and its engines hummed with quiet power. Settlers gathered at a distance, watching with uneasy silence. Everyone on the frontier understood one thing. When big companies arrived without warning, nothing good followed. Rowan stood near the cookhouse, his hand resting lightly on the saddle of his stallion. Tala stood beside him, her posture calm but her eyes alert. They came faster than expected, she whispered. Rowan nodded. They already knew where to look. A ramp lowered from the ship. 3 armored figures walked down, followed by a tall man wearing a long gray coat. He moved with confidence, like someone who believed every place already belonged to him. State your business. The man smiled politely, but his eyes were cold. I represent Helix Dominion. We are here to secure ancient property rights connected to the ruins beyond this settlement. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Property rights? Someone said. Those ruins have been here longer than any of us. The man ignored the voices. His gaze moved slowly across the people until it landed on Tala. Rowan noticed immediately. The way the man's eyes sharpened told him everything he needed to know. Tala stepped back slightly. My name is Director Vance, the man said calmly. We are searching for an individual connected to restricted biological technology. She has been hiding under false identification. The crowd grew tense. Some settlers looked at Tala, others at Rowan. Rowan took a small step forward, placing himself slightly in front of her without making it obvious. We don't hand people over without reason, Rowan said. Director Vance turned his attention to him. And you are? Just passing through, Rowan replied. Vance smiled faintly. Then perhaps you should keep passing. The director's expression hardened. We are authorized to detain the subject. Cooperation will ensure this settlement remains safe. The threat hung in the air. Everyone understood the meaning behind his calm voice. The bartender shook his head. No one gets taken without proof. Vance gestured to one of the armored guards, who activated a hollow display. Data streams appeared, showing distorted scans, glitching biometrics, and partial images. This individual possesses modified genetics tied to alien activation sequences, Vance explained. She is dangerous. Her voice stayed steady. I have harmed no one here. Your existence is valuable to us. Rowan felt anger rise at the way he said it, like she was an object, not a person. She stays, Rowan said quietly. Vance studied him carefully. You misunderstand the situation. This is not a negotiation. Before anyone could respond, a loud pulse rolled across the plains. The ground vibrated slightly. Blue light flashed on the horizon near the ruins. Everyone turned. The ruins were glowing again. Vance smiled slightly. You see, the systems respond to her presence. We cannot allow uncontrolled activation. Tala's face tightened. You don't understand what you're doing. Oh, we understand perfectly, Vance said. Control leads to progress. We need to move. She nodded almost invisibly. Later inside the cookhouse, the atmosphere felt heavy. Some settlers argued quietly. Fear and loyalty pulled them in different directions. They'll destroy us if we refuse, one miner said. And if we give her up, another replied. What kind of people would we be? Rowan watched her carefully. She looked calm, but he sensed the weight she carried. Finally, she turned to him. I should leave. Rowan frowned. No. If I go, they will stop threatening the town. You don't know that, he said. She lowered her gaze. I have seen people like them before. They don't stop until they get what they want. Running won't end it either. Tala looked tired. I have been running my whole life. Maybe it's time to stand. She hesitated. Outside, engines hummed as corporate drones began scanning the area. Red lights flashed through the windows. We don't have much time, Rowan said. Tell me everything. Tala took a slow breath. My people were guardians, she said. The ruins hold a living system, something that stabilizes the environment of this world. Without it, storms would destroy everything. The corporation believes they can control it and sell the technology. Rowan listened carefully. If they force activation, she continued, the balance could break. The planet could become unstable. Rowan nodded slowly. Then we stop them. You don't understand how powerful they are. He met her eyes. I understand choice, and I choose not to let someone be taken against their will. Her expression softened slightly. Outside, a loudspeaker crackled. Residents of Red Mesa, Seven, Vance's voice echoed. You have until sunset to cooperate. Rowan turned toward the door. We need allies. He gathered a few trusted settlers, the bartender, a mechanic, and a former scout. Together, they began planning. The settlement's shields were weak, but they knew the terrain better than the corporation. Tala watched them work, surprised by their determination. You are risking everything for me, she said quietly to Rowan. He shook his head. Not just for you, for what's right. Why? Rowan paused before answering. Because people aren't numbers, or years, or data. They're moments. Choices. And you deserve your own. Tala felt warmth rise in her chest, something she had not felt in a long time. As the sun began to fall, corporate drones moved closer. Blue pulses from the ruins grew stronger, lighting the sky. Suddenly, a group of armored guards approached the cookhouse. Rowan stepped outside to meet them. Director Vance followed behind. Time is over, Vance said calmly. Hand her over. Rowan crossed his arms. No. Then we proceed with forced extraction. Before the guards could move, several settlers stepped forward beside Rowan. Not fighters, not soldiers, just ordinary people standing together. Tala watched from the doorway, stunned. She had expected fear. She had expected betrayal. Instead, she saw loyalty. The wind picked up, carrying red dust across the ground. Blue light from the ruins flashed again, brighter this time. Vance's eyes narrowed. Interesting. It seems she cannot hide from destiny. Rowan's voice stayed steady. Maybe destiny doesn't belong to you. The tension grew thick as everyone waited for the first move. Tala stepped forward slowly, placing herself beside Rowan. I will not go with you, she said clearly. The guards raised their weapons. And in that moment, as the ruins pulsed brighter and the sky darkened to Red Mesa, 7 stood on the edge of a fight that would decide not just Tala's future, but the fate of the entire frontier settlement. The air on Red Mesa, 7, felt heavy, charged with dust and tension. The corporate ship hovered, its engines humming low, casting long shadows over the settlement. Rowan and Tala stood side by side, the townspeople behind them, their faces pale but determined. Outside, the ruins pulsed in faint blue light, like a heartbeat that belonged to the planet itself. Director Vance stepped forward, his coat brushing the sand, calm but intimidating. "I warned you. Cooperation would have been simple." Rowan's hand rested on his belt near his pulse tool. "You didn't understand. People aren't objects. They aren't property, and she isn't yours." Tala's fingers twitched, almost itching to move, to act, but she stayed still. Her people had trained her to control herself, to think first, act second. Every second mattered. Vance glanced at the glowing ruins in the distance. "You underestimate the systems. They respond to her presence. You cannot control them, and you cannot prevent me from taking what is necessary." Rowan's voice was low, steady, but it carried across the courtyard. "You think power is yours, but power without trust or respect destroys more than it builds. We won't let you take her." A faint hiss came from above as drones deployed from the ship, circling like mechanical vultures. Lights scanned the area, tracking movement. Rowan gestured to the settlers. "Positions, defend the town. Protect her." The townspeople, ordinary farmers, miners, and mechanics, moved quickly. Barricades went up around the cookhouse and supply buildings. Tools and makeshift weapons were readied. Fear lingered, but so did resolve. Tala turned to Rowan. "I cannot let them activate the ruins. If they do, the balance will collapse. Then we stop them, together." They moved toward the outer perimeter just inside the edge of the settlement. Tala's knowledge of the land was unmatched. Hidden depressions, rocks that could be used for cover, tunnels beneath the dunes, all of it became an advantage. Rowan followed her lead, trusting instincts and experience, his pulse tool ready. The first drones swept closer. Rowan fired quick bursts, disabling their sensors. Tala moved with silent precision, redirecting small electrical charges to confuse the remaining units. The blue light from the ruins pulsed in response, stronger now, almost alive. Vance's voice came over the loudspeakers again. "This is futile. Stand down and hand her over." Rowan didn't respond. Tala whispered, "They're learning. The ruins are reacting to fear and aggression. Be careful." Rowan and Tala ducked behind a ridge, watching the drones attempt a second sweep. He turned to her. "How long before they bring heavier weapons?" She shook her head. "Minutes, maybe less. We need to draw them toward the dunes, away from the town." They moved quietly across the sands, shadows among shadows, leading drones into natural trenches. When the drones followed, Tala triggered small pulses from hidden rocks, sending electrical feedback that caused the drones to malfunction and crash. Rowan glanced back. The townspeople were safe, for now. He could see relief on their faces, though the tension remained. Suddenly, the ground trembled. The ruins pulsed bright blue, flooding the sky with light. Rowan shielded his eyes. Tala moved instinctively toward the ruins, her hand outstretched as if calling something. "Stop!" Rowan shouted. "Don't activate it fully." She turned toward him, her eyes wide. "I have to stabilize it. If they force activation, the balance will collapse. I can do this, but I need you to protect the perimeter." Rowan nodded and ran toward the approaching guards. The corporate troops moved fast, their weapons ready. The settlers fired improvised blasts, throwing smoke and debris into their path. Rowan intercepted them, using his pulse tool to disable shields and push them back. Tala reached the outer wall of the ruins. She placed her hands on the smooth alien surface, murmuring words she had learned as a child, words that resonated with the energy beneath her fingers. The ruins responded, the blue light surging higher, but instead of chaos, it flowed calmly, like a river stabilizing. Vance's expression shifted from confidence to alarm. "What are you doing?" he demanded. "Stopping you," Tala said, her voice strong, unwavering. Rowan fought back another wave of guards, blocking their path with well-placed pulses and quick strikes. His movements were precise, conserving energy for what he knew would be a long fight. The blue light continued to rise, illuminating the desert and showing the ruins' intricate designs etched into the sand. It was beautiful and terrifying all at once. Tala spoke again, softly. "It's working. The balance is returning." "Impossible!" He activated a small device on his wrist. A red beam shot toward the ruins, attempting to seize control remotely. Rowan saw it coming. He fired a pulse to intercept it. Sparks flew as the beam shattered, and several guards were thrown back by the energy feedback. The settlers cheered quietly. For the first time, hope mixed with fear. Tala's energy reached its peak. The ruins glowed fully, pulsing with life. The blue light extended outward, forming a protective barrier around the settlement. Any attempt by Vance or his forces to breach it caused the beam to deflect harmlessly into the sky. Vance's face was pale. He realized he had underestimated the power Tala controlled. The townspeople were safe. The ruins would not be controlled by outsiders. Tala turned to Rowan, exhaustion visible on her face. "It's stable for now, but I cannot do this alone forever."
Rowan moved to her side, placing a steady hand on her shoulder.
"You're not alone anymore." She looked at him, surprised. "You stayed." "You fought with me." "I told you yesterday," he said. "Moments matter more than years. And this moment is ours to fight." A small smile appeared on Tala's lips. For the first time, she felt the weight of solitude lift slightly. She had always been a guardian, alone in her duty. But Rowan had shown her something she hadn't felt in a long time. Partnership. Trust. Choice. Outside, the corporate troops were retreating. Their technology was no match for the combination of Tala's control over the ruins and the settlers' determination. The drones that had survived returned to the ship, which lifted slowly into the sky and disappeared into the horizon. The settlement erupted into quiet celebrations. People hugged, shook hands, and shared stories of bravery. Tala remained still for a moment, absorbing the victory. Rowan stayed close, watching her reaction, knowing how heavy her responsibility had been. Finally, Tala turned toward him. "What happens now?" "We rebuild," Rowan said simply. "We keep the settlement safe, and we make sure no one threatens it again." "And me?" "You stay," Rowan said firmly. "Not because you need protection. Because I want you here." Her eyes widened slightly, then softened. I never thought someone would fight not just for the settlement, but for me." Rowan shrugged lightly. "Sometimes people fight for what's right. Sometimes they fight for the person standing beside them. You're worth both." The desert wind carried their words across the plains. The ruins behind them pulsed one last time before returning to a quiet hum. It was as if the planet itself acknowledged their victory. Tala exhaled slowly, finally letting herself relax. She had faced the corporation, the fear of discovery, and the heavy weight of responsibility, and now, for the first time in a long time, she felt hope. Rowan reached for her hand. "Ready to ride?" She smiled, placing her hand in his. "Yes. Let's see what comes next." They mounted his stallion and rode toward the rising twin suns. The desert stretched endlessly before them, red and golden in the morning light. For the first time, Tala didn't feel alone. She had a companion who understood that life wasn't measured in years or secrets, but in moments shared and choices made. The settlers waved them off, grateful for the protection they had fought to defend. The settlement of Red Mesa 7 would thrive, shielded by loyalty, courage, and the strange balance of the ruins. Rowan and Tala rode side by side across the desert, leaving footprints in the red sand that glowed faintly under the twin suns. Ahead lay new adventures, new challenges, and the certainty that together they could face whatever came next. And as they rode, Tala whispered softly, more to herself than anyone else. "Moments. Only moments matter." Rowan glanced at her, a small smile playing across his lips. "Then we'll make the most of every one." The frontier stretched endlessly before them, red plains meeting the horizon, and for the first time both felt the promise of freedom, trust, and the possibility of a future built on courage, partnership, and moments that truly mattered.